This is the discussion table with
Avery, he, they.
Ripley, they, them.
River, she, her.
And we'll be talking about mental health and LGBTQ+ topics on this podcast. For this episode, we'll be talking briefly about insensitive jokes, and then the majority of the episode will be about horrible people who say terrible things about LGBTQ+ people in the community. So first, about insensitive jokes, there's a such thing as punching up and punching down in comedy. So I'm sure a lot of you know, but for those who don't, punching up is like when a minority group makes fun...
Idiots.
Pardon?
Or a group of idiots who don't know what they're saying.
No, that's punching down.
Yeah,
punching up.
Going to something else.
Yeah, punching up is when a minority group makes fun of the majority. So, for example, like gay people saying straight people are weird or something. And then punching down is like when straight people say that gay people are weird. It's punching down because
they're already a minority, so
yeah.
It's not really acceptable, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
so it's just don't make fun of a minority. Like,
yeah.
Gross. Okay, so examples of insensitive jokes are like, that's so gay, you're psychotic, I'm so OCD, or I'm so ADHD, or I'm so autistic, and then slurs. So they are called jokes by people that use them, but they're not jokes. You're just saying a slur. You're just
Honestly.
showing your level of intelligence. So, what can you do when you hear this? Just say you're walking down the hall and you hear someone say, "Oh my God, you're so gay." First of all, assess the situation. Do you think that they will actually respond well to you telling them to shut up? Because
maybe if you're in a conversation with them. But I can't imagine if you're walking down the hall and someone say something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
so if you know the person, then you can probably sway them a little bit by telling them, "Hey, why did you say that?" Because when you question someone who says something stupid or like insensitive, they usually walk themselves into a corner.
Yeah, or like they'll just be like, or I've heard people say to like, question why in a way, where if they say like some sort of insensitive joke, be like, well, why? Like, explain it. I don't understand the joke, you know?
Yeah.
Then they have to explain them being like racist or something.
Yeah, and then it's just like, oh, that wasn't actually funny because I had to explain the joke, and then it loses its comedic effect. So then they'll probably...
Or non-comedic effect.
Yeah.
Never funny
Yeah.
in the first place.
Yeah, it's funny to them because they don't have critical thinking skills. So, you're psychotic. So, does anyone know what psychotic means?
We literally just did a lesson on that in history class.
Yeah. So, what is psychotic?
Basically, it's... How do I explain this? Oh, God. Okay, so... I'm not going to explain things here.
Okay.
I know it. It's just that when you say it to somebody else, like if you're in a conversation with somebody and they just full on say you're psychotic, you are basically saying that that person is, if you know what the definition of a psychopath is or anything like that, you are basically saying
Psychopath is where they have no emotions, right?
Exactly.
They can't feel any emotions.
Nope.
So like saying someone's psychotic is
They're
implying that they're
numb.
unemotional, but
Yeah.
it's also extremely disrespectful to like people who are psychotic.
Like people that are affected by antisocial personality disorder. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. So you basically say that to somebody, you're basically being an idiot.
Or I hope it's antisocial personality disorder. I know it's ASD. Oh God. Okay, don't quote me.
Don't quote any of us.
Yeah.
Put us on that.
Yeah.
Do your research. There's
Yeah.
a Google for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you're in history class and you will start learning about Hitler's stupid mistakes, that's not what the actual lesson's called, that's what I call it, because he really did stupid stuff. If you're in history and you learn about those, you will learn about the whole psychopath and psychotic thing.
How come?
Because the first few intro of the lesson, you do start talking about those. Because it was...
Why specifically to Hitler, though?
If you know anything about Hitler, you would know that dude is...
Terrible.
Very, very terrible.
Yeah, hopefully you know that.
He did a lot of stuff in the past, And for some reason, people who still supported him somehow, even though they honestly just should have kept him in jail for 5 more years instead of 9 months.
Who?
I thought they...
Isn't
Isn't it that he
jail?
escaped?
No, he was in jail for 9 months. He was
Hitler?
Yes, he was supposed to go to jail for 5 years, but they changed it to 9 months.
I thought he
I thought
died.
I thought he escaped.
No.
What? Okay,
He
none of
would've-
us know enough about Hitler.
I
Maybe.
didn't have a whole history lesson on
Okay.
He
Okay.
was in jail for 9
Don't
months and
tell us what happened to Hitler. We don't know either.
he wrote a book
Yeah.
in jail.
Oh.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh no.
The English version is called My Struggle.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't know he wrote that in prison. Okay, anyways,
Don't
enough
go for
about
this,
Hitler.
But if you have history, you will learn about it.
Okay, so
English history, anyways.
next one is I'm so OCD or ADHD or autistic. So when you say I'm so
It's
OCD,
not a verb.
yeah, it's not a noun.
You
You know what? I don't know what English is.
can't.
I can't English properly.
It's definitely not a verb.
No.
But
Especially if you
So-
get to people who actually do have OCD, ADHD, all that, and is autistic.
Yeah, like,
Don't make jokes out of that because those are
It's
actual
not
serious
funny.
issues.
like it's debilitating. Like
Yeah.
it's
I'm
not
so
something to
OCD.
joke
What does
about.
that even mean?
Like, oh,
It means I like having
I'm
things
so
in order.
organized.
Everything has
That's
to be
not
better.
a-
No.
It's not an acceptable joke. That
Yeah.
doesn't even make
Okay.
sense.
Same with out there who actually who do have ADHD, OCD, and who are autistic. And if anyone ever says that around you, just walk away.
Honestly.
Just honestly walk away. But
There's usually not
Also-
that much hope for them.
yeah.
yeah.
Also, when you think about it, they're also stereotyping them as well.
Yeah. So they're showing not
No
very
one
much
is, but go ahead and
understanding.
stop people.
maybe
Don't
not.
Don't do that. But-
Okay. So then
don't do it, 'cause don't quote me on that. But if it just gets to a point where it's just so bothering, just a whoop in the head. Don't do it. Don't actually do it.
okay. So now slurs. If you hear someone say a slur, they could be dangerous. Because
They probably are dangerous.
Yeah.
more towards like slurs against LGBTQ plus people. Like I had the R word in the doc that we were reading off of, but usually people that say the R word are just not. They don't have a very extensive vocabulary.
Yeah.
So
You know, I'm pretty sure I've heard people say that before. Just be like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so... I was just like, pretty sure you're not allowed to say that?
yeah.
No.
So it's not even a slur that's being taken back by the community. It's just don't say it. No one says
Just
it.
don't.
There's no really a point of you to say that to somebody.
Right?
Yeah.
If your cursing vocabulary is so sad you gotta start using slurs, that's just disappointing, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's just stupid. Because I know there are a bunch of words out there in the world that you can use.
There's literally so many words, and you're gonna use this one word you're not supposed to use?
It's
Literally,
really
It's
disappointing.
English, it's literally the English dictionary. Bunch of words.
There's so many words in the
Dictionary,
English
whatever.
language, and you choose those ones.
Okay, so when is it okay to joke about certain things?
Like, how? I don't know. Like, I feel like if I'm gay, like, oh, haha, that's gay, that's probably acceptable, right?
It's like, okay, so what I think, and anyone can disagree, is that people that are in the community can joke about things, but if it becomes something where they actually believe in what they're saying, like transphobic trans people, then
Yeah,
it's not
'cause,
okay.
Like, that's a thing.
It's very much a thing. There's so many transphobes and like gay transphobes, trans homophobes, and like biphobes and everything.
There are so many.
Yeah. So, in general, if you're not in a community, don't joke about it. So then now we're going to get on to problematic people.
Oh, this
Very
should be
fun.
fun.
Yeah. So, first we'll talk about DaBaby.
Okay. So, for those who don't know who the baby is, he wrote the song Rockstar that was very popular last year for some very odd reason. So this is a lyric, I guess you could say?
No.
Quotes, he
It's
said?
it's a thing he said at a concert this year.
He said this at a concert?
Yeah.
Where would you even find time to, like, at the beginning of the show, hey, I hate gay people.
Yeah.
Sing.
So, Do you want to say the quote?
Sure.
Or there's swear words, so I can say it if you want.
I'll censor out the swear words because try to keep this.
Oh, who cares
we
about
don't have
PG?
to. They
I
said
know.
it
like,
first.
just trying to keep it clean for now.
Yeah.
We technically don't have to, though.
Oh god, this makes me hate the baby even more. Oh god.
Yeah.
If you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexually transmitted disease that will make you die in 2 or 3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighters up, ladies. If your blank smell like water, put your cell phone lighter up, fella. If you ain't sucking blank in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighters up, dear God. What is wrong with him?
This just shows ignorance.
Honestly.
Also, what is that about pee? Like,
Okay.
what?
For those who went to the concert, and if you are like part of the LGBTQ and you are asexual, I feel so sorry for you, cause no one would like to hear those stuff.
Also, like, pretty sure you don't just get like AIDS and die in 2 or 3 weeks.
You definitely
Lasts
don't.
Longer than that.
You can be HIV positive and live till you're 90.
Yeah.
So,
Honestly. Just sad ignorance.
yeah, just gross.
Yeah. Someone else we're going to talk about is Dave Chappelle, who recently blew up because of his Netflix stand-ups. There's been a couple of them, but specifically we're going to talk about his stand-up The Closer, where he talked about LGBTQ people. And he made like a mockery of trans women's appearances, bodies, and genitals. He defended J.K. Rowling. He said he was Team TERF.
And TERF means trans exclusionary radical feminist.
Yeah,
What
basically
the
like feminists who think trans people just aren't a part of feminism. He also said gender is a fact and that LGBT people are too sensitive.
I think it's just that they don't have emotional intelligence at all.
They're just... Sometimes it frustrates me how
idiots.
people just don't... they just don't understand. And I feel like no matter how much you're trying to convince them, like, science is not like that.
Especially
Don't
people
listen.
who are trying, like, we already did one about coming out.
Yeah.
And for those people who are still trying to come out of the closet and they are trans, it's harder.
It's a lot harder.
It's way harder than
Especially
coming
since
out.
a lot of people don't understand.
Exactly, it's way harder than coming out as gay or
right? Because especially
else.
when, like, as a queer, like, as bisexual or, like, your sexuality, you can kind of, like, just, I feel like you can disclose that easier. No, not disclose. Just
come out that a bit more easier than you can with trans.
it's a little easier.
Yeah,
Because
a little
not
bit.
easier, but, like, it's different. And also,
a
because
lot of
trans
people-
is a lot more complicated. You
Yeah,
know,
a lot-
sexuality. A lot of people can just be like, "Oh, well, love is love," and like that's great, but that doesn't really apply to trans people.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to say for when I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm trans"? Can't be like love is love.
Gender is
love
gender.
Is love. I love myself. So.
Yeah. So now we'll talk about J.K. Rowling, and both me and Avery have a lot to say
I
on
hate
this.
her, and I could probably rant about her for a while.
Yeah. So
See,
we
I didn't know
will
who the person was until today.
Yeah,
Wow.
we will hold back a little bit just so this episode
Only a
isn't
little
forever. So
Why hold it back at all? It's
she
kinda
she is transphobic.
Yeah, constantly.
Constantly.
Specifically on Twitter, she's constantly transphobic.
So
I do too.
in the Harry Potter books, which she's most famous for, the confirmed LGBTQ plus characters are Dumbledore.
Because she told us after the books, she's just like on Twitter or something, like, hey, guess what? This guy, definitely gay. No
Yeah.
representation, though.
I don't, that's not how it works.
That's right.
Yeah, so there was
That's-
no
he's
clues
just-
in the book,
that doesn't even make
the
sense.
original book series. And then there's Grindelwald, who is a villain.
Yeah, a villain in her Fantastic Beast books. There's only 2 movies so far.
I have no idea,
Yeah,
honestly.
he's
I don't
the
follow
villain.
her anymore.
Oh.
Never heard.
I
Yeah.
only know because I started reading them, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's 2 movies out so far, I think, with Grindelwald, where he's the main villain. And so basically him and Dumbledore were supposed to be in some sort of romantic relationship, except Grindelwald's like a villain and obviously very toxic.
And
so she basically
Dumbledore,
wrote like a very unhealthy gay relationship.
Yes, and it's the only gay relationship in the entire million-word series.
Like, is that even representation if she makes it like a terrible relationship?
Yeah. And then the last confirmed LGBTQ plus character is Matilda Grimblehawk.
Who?
Exactly.
I've never heard of her.
I have read the Harry Potter books so many times, and I have no idea who that is.
She's from Harry Potter?
Apparently. Okay, so, if something you might not know about J.K. Rowling is that she has a pen name. So, Robert Galbraith is her pen name, and that person, I'm pretty sure his name is Robert Galbraith Heath.
Who the heck are you?
And he is an American psychologist who did gay conversion therapy. So that's who she chose.
She just made up this background about this person who she's writing under.
No. It was a real person.
Oh.
So she chose that historical figure to use his name.
That's terrible, but that also checks out because she's a terrible person.
So this whole Matilda person, I just searched her up. She looks like a person you would find a very awful game.
Who is she supposed to be?
She looks like Ginny.
She's apparently she's in Harry Potter.
When?
I don't know. I just searched Harry Potter
does it
character.
say appearances?
No.
So she's like not even a secondary character.
Not at all.
Was a British.
British Irish apparently. It says nothing about anything else.
There's an
like
early life.
Random.
There's like information about her, and no one knows who she is.
Background character who
apparently
no one knows. She was probably
Hogwarts
mentioned.
Student.
She was probably mentioned in like two paragraphs or something. Just like, oh look, there's a person standing there in the background.
Yeah.
Cool. That person, gay.
Yeah.
But literally, this is all that's here on her.
There's so little on
She's
her.
apparently unmarried. Her nationality is British or Irish. They don't even know her nationality.
Just a mix.
She's this is apparently what she is. Her title is that.
Magizoologist.
Yeah.
That's so random, man.
All
right.
Species human, gender female, hair brown. The hair looks
That looked
ginger.
red.
That look red.
Yeah.
Eye color brown, skin color light. Family members: Abraham
Grimblehawk.
Yeah, that's her
Yeah.
uncle.
So we don't even know who that is either. Okay. So next, the most recent book that J.K. Rowling published under the name Robert Galbraith is Troubled Blood, which is about.
I heard about this.
Yes. It's about a man who cross-dresses and kills and rapes women.
Yeah.
What the heck?
And it's
did I just
933 pages long.
How would you
So
even
sorry.
write-
What?
It's
So this man was abused as a child, the main character in the book, and he starts to dress up and put on a wig and entices women, or not entices, I don't know which word I was meaning to use.
Isn't it he goes into women's bathrooms and kills women?
I haven't looked into it because it's
I haven't
disgusting.
read it, but that's what I heard happened.
Yeah, and he
Something
kills
like that.
and rapes women.
That's terrible.
So some people say, oh, but it doesn't contain trans characters, so it's not transphobic. But can you read between the lines?
Like, obviously, we all know what that's about.
Like,
Let's put it this way. Don't watch. If you're to anyone who's a Harry Potter fan, I'm so sorry to say this. Don't watch Harry Potter, or well, you can watch it, but
like be deceived
pirate
about
it. Pirate it.
Yeah, pirate it, or like just be deceived about
research.
it. Don't talk about it online. Like, don't encourage her.
Like, as you can see, she made a character up.
Even like hate clout kind of gives her clout.
Yeah.
That gives her money.
Yeah.
Because
So
she
just
on
don't
Twitter
talk about her at all.
she responds to hate tweets. So just anything. Just don't
talk about it at all.
Yeah.
If you want to read the books, I guess whatever.
Also, if you do watch Harry
Steal
Potter,
from her.
if you watch
Go
Harry
pirate
Potter,
stuff.
if you watch Harry Potter and read the books, and you know who this character is,
Like, educate yourself about every terrible thing she's done.
Yes.
Keep that in mind while
but
you
if
read
you read Harry Potter,
because her writing wasn't that good anyways.
Yeah.
if you read Harry Potter and read the books, and if you read Harry Potter, watch the movie, not read the and you watch the movie, and the character we just talked about comes up,
Tell us.
please give us information.
Because we have
send us
no
a text
idea
or
who
something,
she is.
'cause-
Oh, we do have an Instagram account now. So
Yeah.
at the
the
discussion
discussion.
the discussion table podcast.
Did escape.
Yeah, so not a typo, I promise. Okay, so you can
We'll link it down in the description, I guess. Or
if we
Can we
can.
do that? Yeah.
I think we can
We'll
put
link it.
links.
That sounded so much like something you'd say on YouTube.
Right?
Yeah.
We'll link it in the description.
Yeah.
Follow us.
If you have any suggestions, we just DM us.
Take suggestions.
Okay, so now this is a
List of terrible tweets she has tweeted.
so the
If
first
I could get any
one.
roasting out of this, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first one is a set of 3 tweets.
Oh.
So I'm just going to read it out and
Okay.
then we're going to criticize it because there's much to criticize.
So much to criticize.
So, she says,
Paragraph, not tweets. Holy.
yeah. So if sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth. Next tweet. The idea that women like me, who've been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women, i.e., to male violence, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived consequences, is a nonsense. First of all, is a nonsense? Okay, then. I respect every trans person's rights to live any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it's hateful to say so. So,
Now let's criticize that.
yeah.
Let's
Okay.
start with the first tweet. First off,
So,
no one said sex isn't real. That's
No
not
one.
what we're saying. We're saying that, first off, sex isn't just two... There are more than 2 sexes. And also, sex
Nice,
isn't
who's that?
gender. And also, gender has nothing to do with sex.
yes.
It really doesn't.
And literally no one said sex isn't real.
We're literally just saying that some people who
Their gender
They're-
isn't the same as their
Exactly.
sex.
Like,
and
some
there are
people-
more than both. There's more than 2 for both of them.
definitely some people just don't feel like they're in the right body.
It's like what does that have to do with you?
Right?
Just leave
You're
leave
not-
us alone.
It's
Just keep your mouth shut.
Yes. Okay.
No one asked you to comment.
So, speaking the truth, she said, it isn't hate to speak the truth. What truth is she speaking?
There's no truth to that. None of the science backs her up. Or proper science, anyway.
Unless she does research, and she got the research off of some website that she probably had people do for her.
Yeah, some
and then
terrible
paid
website
people
or
to do it.
something.
So the first line of the second tweet, the idea that women like me who've been empathetic to trans people for decades, feeling kinship because they're vulnerable in the same way as women,
Who's she implying?
blah, blah, blah.
I don't understand. Who's she implying she feels kinship with?
and how empathetic is she?
Right? I don't think you're that empathetic. Let's be real. If you're tweeting this shit. But also, who's she implying? Do you know who she implying to feel kinship with? 'Cause
I think
don't
she means
understand that.
kinship with trans people.
That doesn't.
It's
Even
insane.
makes
Let's put it
sense.
this way: we're trying to understand her, and it's impossible because
You're
she doesn't know how to.
You are a white cis het woman.
Like, sure, you're a woman. That doesn't
Okay,
mean
sure.
you're the same as a trans person.
Right.
There's a huge difference there.
Honestly.
Okay, then I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. She
They
said
are
if.
discriminated against. How do
She-
you even know where the if
She
is
is
with
doing
this?
it. She is discriminating against
You
them.
are a discrimination.
Okay, so because you have hardships, or have had hardships, what does that have to do with trans people?
Right. Saying you have hardships isn't. It's like if white women say their life is difficult, alright, I understand that. If trans people say their lives are difficult, sure, that's true too.
Everyone's life is
You can't
different.
compare.
Right, but
You can't
there's
compare.
No comparison. Like, discrimination is not like a contest where I'm more discriminated than you. Some
If there was
people are
ever
more
a
discriminated
contest,
against.
That
Sure.
is the most stupidest contest ever.
Right? Because, like, some people are more discriminated against. If you are a black trans woman, you are going to be discriminated against a lot more than, say, like, a white trans man.
Yeah.
But that's not, like, it's not like a discrimination contest.
Like,
can't-
you
can't
don't want to
complain,
win that.
Right? Why would you want to be the winner of the, I'm more discriminated against you? It's,
And really, the people that are obsessed with being discriminated against are the least discriminated against.
Oh, for sure.
And then, last point, mind your damn business.
For
Shut
sure.
up.
Like, no one asked for your opinion on trans people. Honestly.
Okay, second tweet.
Oh, God.
I've spent much of the last 3 years reading books, blogs, and scientific papers by trans people, medics, and gender specialists. I know exactly what the distinction is. Never assume that because someone thinks differently, they have no knowledge. So this was...
What kind of... If you're tweeting same sex isn't real, if... No one ever said that!
Okay, first of all, this was responding to a tweet that was protected, so I couldn't see what the other person was saying. But...
Oh, wait, I love how she says, never assume.
Never assume. Like, who is doing
Who's
more assuming?
We're
No
looking at
one's
your
really
terrible
assuming.
tweets, your terrible misinformed tweets, and being like,
All
yeah,
you're
that's a
doing-
transphobe.
All you're doing is sticking your nose into business that has nothing to do with you.
You have nothing to do with the trans community.
Okay, so... She says she's read so much. So who wrote those things? Because there are plenty of transphobic people that think they can talk on a topic that has nothing to do with him. Just like J.K. Rowling. And also trans people can be transphobic. So,
right? Like, I've heard some trans people be like, well, we don't need people who use neopronouns because they're ruining any sort of chance we're getting for rights. If you want to fight for trans rights, we should be fighting for everyone's trans rights.
like,
Also,
just
gender
don't
is
pick
a
and
spectrum
choose.
and a social construct.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's literally how you present yourself to society. So, if...
We won't go into that now.
Yeah, that's a long topic.
Yeah.
So, I once talked to a guy on Instagram who... Okay, I'll set up the scene. So, I follow a lot of writing accounts on Instagram, and the post that I saw the person's comment on was about how to write fat people, I think.
Huh?
Which, that's like a common theme in writing accounts. It's like how to write this minority group, just so you don't sound ignorant when you try in good intentions. So,
Which I guess is, like, understandable,
yeah,
you know?
but it's still kind of weird.
Yeah.
So the person responded to the post saying it's not a bad thing to write fat people who lose weight and become happier. And I was like, first of all, yes, it is, because
You're implying people who
he
are...
self-identified as skinny.
Yeah.
Like, just...
And also,
Ugh.
you're implying that fat people can't be happy?
Yeah.
What?
So then he also went on to say that I have written stories about people that have been raped and people that have been enslaved. Like,
That's kind of
it's just
weird.
insane how ignorant this person was.
Oh, for sure.
And
Sounds
he said, I don't have to do research. So
You kind of do. That's how
You
this
really do.
works. You do
Also-
proper research on minorities you're not a part of.
yeah.
Also, for anyone who is ever triggered about this whole topic, like rape and stuff, we're so sorry.
Yeah. You can talk to us on Instagram if you need us
If you
to.
need support.
Yeah. And of course, there are hotlines everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So use those if you need them. And us. So then, this person, when I talked to them civilly. And I said, why do you think that? And they sent me sources. Oh, this was a completely different thing, actually. We were talking about how he shouldn't write fat people becoming skinny and then becoming happy. Like the show Insatiable. That was insane. But anyways,
The one that started W, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I hated that. I couldn't watch it.
I didn't even know it was rated until my mother told me.
Yeah.
She started watching it, got into it, and I was like, that's not appropriate for me. Oh.
Yeah. So, this person continued to talk and dig himself deeper, and he said that gay people and trans people are mentally ill.
Jeez.
So I said, why do you think that? Because I don't think that at all. And he sent me a source from a website called Conservapedia.
Well, in the title, you can tell it's not going to be good credited. Or just...
It's very
not-
biased.
It's... Yeah.
So if you say you have sources, you could have sources from Conservapedia, which is right-wing, biased, And, of course, you can also have left-wing bias.
Yeah.
But just in general, just try and get different perspectives, because J.K. Rowling does not. She's just bringing it back to J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
She does not. We don't have to ask. She doesn't.
She's terrible.
I don't know who this woman was until today.
Yeah.
I didn't know she wrote Harry Potter or anything like that, so.
Another tweet, she commented on a retweet about an article who said something about people who menstruate, and she retweeted, people who menstruate, I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out? How did you even pronounce that?
Woman.
Wimbun, woman. Basically, she's trying to imply that we should just use women instead of people who menstruate. There are men who menstruate. There are non-binary people who menstruate. Saying people who menstruate is just an inclusive term.
It's like you're not being discriminated against because people are being inclusive.
Right? That's not a thing.
Like, you just want to be discriminated against so bad. It's, like, embarrassing.
Yeah.
So,
she also published this huge, lengthy post on her website and sent out a tweet that read turf wars. She wrote this whole article I heard about, like, trans people and why her opinions are right about being transphobic and our opinions are wrong. So
she's just ignorant, rude, disgusting, should stop talking.
She is human trash.
Why isn't she canceled yet?
She's too popular.
Okay.
And she still has a Twitter account.
Okay, and people want to cancel a 17-year-old for dancing.
Who?
Charli D'Amelio?
People want to cancel her just for dancing.
Oh.
So.
Well, anyways. So now, since we mentioned trans people that are transphobic, we're going to talk about two specific people. So, Calvin Guerra. I used to watch Calvin Guerra on YouTube as like an 11-year-old when I thought I was a trans guy. I'm not. I'm agender, as you know. But Calvin Guerra would not agree with that. So, he is a trans medicalist. So, there's two definitions for this. I'm not sure which one is right. So, one is that you have to have body dysphoria to be trans, or you have to have gender dysphoria to be trans. So, I agree that you have to have gender dysphoria, but not body dysphoria. So, dysphoria is like feeling bad about your body, if it's body dysphoria, because you look a certain way. Like, if you have wide hips and you're a trans man, or if you have a large chest, or if you have a broad shoulders as a trans woman, then those are things that can make you dysphoric about your body. And then gender dysphoria is feeling like you're in the wrong, feeling like your assigned sex at birth
is wrong?
Is not aligned with your gender.
So that would be like being uncomfortable. Like, it could be like social dysphoria too, because there's like socially transitioning, where you haven't like physically transitioned, but you get called by different names and pronouns. Yeah.
So Calvin Guerra thinks that you have to have body dysphoria. I'm pretty sure. I don't quote me, because I haven't watched him in years.
Any of us or anything we've said.
Yeah, we have not said a single thing. You haven't heard us.
We're not 100% sure about anything.
Okay, so Calvin Guerra on Twitter does not stop talking, just like J.K. Rowling.
Well, some people need to have their Twitter cards revoked.
Yeah.
We're taking away your account. Didn't they do that for Trump? We should do it for other people too.
Yeah.
We're revoking your Twitter.
So, Calvin Guerra claims to never have said he didn't believe in non-binary people, and yes, he did. I'm 100% sure about that. There's a video up on his YouTube channel called "I Used to Be a Non-Binary SJW."
What's an SJW?
A social justice warrior. It's more of a derogatory term used by the right wing to insult the left wing who care about social issues. So, it's just, it's ignorance. So much ignorance. So, Calvin Guerra apologized maybe this past year for being a terrible person, and it was pathetic.
So essentially a clickbait apology. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Come on.
It's for clout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's not sorry. He's not. I don't care what he says because he's not.
Still a bad person.
And he continues to be awful on Twitter. So then Blair White, she is terrible on so many levels.
Who's that?
She's a trans woman. She was a YouTuber. I think she still is. Yeah, she's still a YouTuber. And she is right-wing. She is right-wing in all the bad ways. There are good right-wing people, but she's not one of them. So,
Blair White is an American YouTuber and commentator. Politically right-wing, White has been critical of the third wave feminism.
yeah.
Active, she reviews as a social justice warrior. Active movements such as Black Lives Matter.
She doesn't agree with Black Lives Matter.
That's
That's apparently not what they put for her description.
Yeah.
that's
So,
terrible.
scrolling through her Twitter today, I saw the most recent tweets was comments on Kyle Rittenhouse telling us to thank him for killing a molester. And I looked up several articles about who did Kyle Rittenhouse kill, and there was nothing about a molester. So she is either making that up, she heard it from someone else who's making it up.
Who did he kill?
2 people, and he injured someone else.
Oh.
So I don't know their names. I should, but I don't. Maybe you know what?
I
Okay,
searched them up.
yeah, we will.
Who did he kill?
He's 17?
Yes, Kyle Rittenhouse is 17.
Fairly shot 2 men and wounded another one in Kenosha,
Wisconsin.
The shooting occurred during the protest riots and civil arrests that followed the shooting of a black man, Jacob Blake. But who did he?
I think you have to scroll down lower.
Okay, so I don't think it. Okay, the 3 victims by
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Kyle Rittenhouse was Anthony Hooper, who was 26, and Joseph Burlsbun, who was 36,
So essentially he killed protesters?
and
Yes.
Gage Grosskreutz, who is now 27.
So none of them are confirmed to be molesters.
Dude, you okay? Like,
He's not okay.
I'm
Oh.
not even getting
17-year-old,
this
and you're killing a
information.
26-year-old, 36-year-old, and now 27-year-old.
So
Honestly.
Kyle Rittenhouse should be put in jail for
Was he
killing
not?
people. No, he was not.
He wasn't?
The American
He was
justice
acquitted.
system is disappointing.
He was acquitted,
On so
which
many
means he was found not guilty
How?
of all counts. So he's not going to jail. I don't know if there's any consequences at all.
That's terrible.
But good news, the 3 men in Georgia who killed Ahmaud Arbery did get convicted of almost all the charges.
Okay, but now it's his turn.
Yeah, now it's his turn. So, back to Blair White. So, in her Twitter bio, her pronouns are that/bitch. So, haha,
That's just making
hilarious.
fun of pronouns and completely disrespectful.
Every single person has pronouns. Unless you
I
go
don't
by your
use
name.
Pronouns. What do you mean you don't use pronouns? Most people do.
So, if you were to ask you your pronouns, you would just say, I don't have any, so...
Oh, my pronouns are that bitch. Alright, so that went
So-
to the store the other day.
Yeah. It's like, you're a trans person, why don't you believe in
Pronouns?
Using-
That's like the most, one
Yeah.
of the most basic things.
So, I did not watch it, but she did talk about Dave Chappelle. I'm assuming she defended him because she's a terrible person.
Oh, yeah.
So, she also made fatphobic comments, and she's anti-Black Lives Matter. So that's
So
just...
ridiculous.
Basically, everyone we talked about
Terrible.
today are just a full bunch of idiots.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ignorant assholes.
I think the least horrible is DaBaby because we don't know much about him.
Besides the baby, everybody else were just full-on idiots.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, he was terrible, too, but they were...
Okay,
They
way
were
worse
terrible.
On a completely other level.
okay, sure, he said a very rude thing at a concert, but everybody
That
else
was
we've talked about, like,
Probably just one incident we've heard of so far.
yeah, but
Yeah. So there's
J.K.
probably
Rowling-
more.
Yeah.
if anyone guys find out who that character is from the so-called Harry Potter series,
Oh, yeah.
please, just let us know.
Send us.
Yeah.
Send us a text. Tell us
So-
who that is. We don't know any more than you do.
If you want to tell us about more transphobic people, homophobic people, maybe don't, because it's kind of a downer.
People suck.
If you
That's
do,
okay.
you might even get featured on our podcast. So,
It's a possibility.
yeah. So, we have gone on for long enough. So, that is the end of our 6th episode.
Mm-hmm.
River, she, her.
Ripley, they, them.
And Avery, he, they.
Signing off.